Hi, this is Moxie again. In this interview, we're going to discuss a little bit, not discuss, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about my early sexual experiences. So, I've always had a very high sex drive from the time I was little. I am also what you would call an abuse victim, but at the time I didn't know that's what it was. So in my head, from my perspective, it was all, relatively normal to have urges like that. And I remember I'd get in trouble for like humping my pillows when I was a little kid because I'd be on top of the bunk bed and I'd make all this noise. So I'd get in trouble for that. And a little bit of shame came into play there that I didn't know. And then later on in life, I think I was like 7 or so, a couple of years later, I remember I was attracted to girls, and there was a neighbor down the block from me. I don't know if I should say her name, maybe not, but we were best friends, and her and I would play together sometimes. We did a few times that I remember, and I was about 7 when that happened, and I really thought for a long time that I was lesbian because I acted more like a boy and dressed more like a boy, but I liked men. I just wasn't really approached by them. So I thought to myself, maybe I'm just not wanted, and I think I just turned towards women because they were easier to understand. I understood myself pretty well and knew what I wanted, so I would go after women first. And then I learned it was because I wasn't around men. I was around boys, and I wasn't attracted to boys. I had a brain, and a maturity beyond my age level, so I just didn't find people my age attractive. They didn't have much to offer. I wanted to grow with a person. I didn't want to just have company in life. That's what friends and like dogs and family are for. I had that already. I wanted more. So then I was with 16. I met this 23-year-old, and he was the brother of my best friend's boyfriend, and he had revealed to me that he was attracted to me for some time, for like a year, and didn't say anything because of my age, and then he decided to just say something. So we had a relationship, I think, for about a year, and my parents got involved, and the cops at my school, and came to the school and threatened to imprison him if they ever saw us together, and that was a lot of drama. So I moved out of my parents' house and told them I'm going to live my own life. This is my body, and I'm owning it. Well, part of that came from the abuse I had experienced. I was either going to be a victim or I was going to take what happened and turn it into a power in a way. I wanted that power back. So I chased this person for a little while, then got sick of him because he wasn't growing and I was maturing, and I saw that I would outgrow him at some point. So I just called it off then. And then I finally gave my high school sweetheart a chance because he had like matured and joined the football team, and then he looked like a man and I could handle it, because before it was weird and I felt like I was holding a little boy's hand and it was gross. So then we dated on and off throughout high school, and he was amazing to me, but I was crazy. So I ruined that at the end of high school. My sister died and I lost my shit. So I broke up with him. Just my whole life had to change radically because I was hurting really bad and running. So broke off things off with him and met, I wanted to be bad. So I met my first husband when I was scooping ice cream at Rite Aid, and chased him because I knew he was a bad boy, and I thought, sure, that sounds like fun. So
did he fall for the meeting men?
No, he liked that I was aggressive and spoke my mind and that I was smart. And so he liked the things about me that made me feel confident, or the things that I did when I was confident. And then after we got married, he wanted me to be a little more Stepfordy, but that's not my personality. So I fought him on that and decided not to be that person or dress that way anymore. I tried it, it didn't work for me, but I was always a little more out there in the spectrum of like vanilla missionary to like blood and pee, you know what I mean? Like that's the range. I kept traveling here and he just wanted to stay like kind of over here, and I would get shamed for what I wanted because either he couldn't keep up or didn't want to, or because maybe he was not into what I was. That's fine. So we butt heads a lot on that, and that led to the end of our relationship. So we ended up together, I think, 4 or 5 years. So anyway, we were together from the time I was, I think, 19 or almost 20, I think 19 or 20, until I was about 24. And we had 2 kids together, tried to make things work, but it just wasn't working out. And then in the end, I told him, I'm going to cheat on you if you don't meet my needs sexually, because that is your job. And you agreed to be my husband and provide me with this, and you're the only one I can get it from. So if he would withhold, and I'd go to Sex Addicts Anonymous meetings and just feel like I wasn't enough, but also too much at the same time. And then I learned, if I'm too much, this is something I've learned, if I'm too much, they can go find something else, something less. Go find less over there. And finally, I moved on with my life and met my now husband, Roger, who we have a daughter with also, or I have a daughter with him. So I have 3 girls total, and he stepped in and was super dad, and kind of, I call him Save-A-Ho, because I was on welfare, going through a divorce, living at mom's, like I was a hot mess, and he thought I was a good idea, and I'm glad he did. So we started out as fun buddies, and I had 3 of them. I had the guy that looked like The Rock, and then I had the guy that was like my military G.I. Joe guy, like, blonde, blue eyes kind of thing. That he was in the Marines, and then Roger was my Harley riding, like, badass guy. So I had these 3 different like flavors, and I got to live like a romance novel kind of, honestly, for a few months there. It was pretty awesome. And then Roger had feelings for me and shared that with me, and said that he would rather, I forgot exactly what did you say?
Not sure.
Rather not share me. So I decided to make a choice. From the day I met Roger, we chatted online, and the day we met in person, it was instinct. We just made out immediately. There was I don't even know if we spoke other than a hey, hi, and then we started making out and had sex in his truck within minutes. It was just there. I don't know how else to describe it. It's almost like a movie or something, but like our souls just...
Like the Notebook?
We just knew. And the pheromones, the smell, I don't know, just everything lined up. And he was not on my list of he didn't meet my criteria that I had listed out for myself, that I would not settle for anything but this. But he was not all those things. And I just thought, how is it that I can love somebody this much, Part of why I am able to is because he lets me express myself fully, and he lets me. So when I was 16, I met somebody named, I can't give you the name, but I met somebody, and he was significantly older and very patient with me, very understanding of what I had been through in my earlier years, and he helped me to love myself. He's very poetic, very romantic, and really just knew how to get in my pants, and it worked. So him and I were pretty close and had more of a romantic kind of relationship than anything. It felt very romantic despite being very sexually oriented, because that's all we ever really did, it felt like. And after I broke up with him, I met my brother-in-law's best friend, who was 10 years older than me. And I liked him, everything was great there, but he had the problem with my age, so he backed off, which was smart on his part. But I had a lot of fun with him, and that was in his apartment. It was way under the radar, nobody knew about it, so the fact that there was so much secrecy was really fun. But unfortunately that had to end. So, I don't know, each person has brought a new experience, and then when I had my 3 fun buddies, I had just different flavors. It was nice to have different types, because everyone does it their own way, and I call that maintenance sex. When it's the same, and it's the same few things, you pick them because you know that they work, okay? That's maintenance. That's just getting the job done. And so if I had 3 different people doing their version of getting the job done, I still had the variety, and I could throw in some new stuff, and I had a lot of stuff to choose from. Whereas when you're with one person, that you start to get into a rhythm, and things don't change. And I think I chased growth everywhere. So those are my experiences with them. Every person I got something from.